Hello everyone, today's video is on a vintage Coach bag, a Coach vintage bag. You guys, I'm so excited about this one right here. So I wanted to talk to you guys and do a reveal of one of my Coach vintage bags that I just added to my collection. And she is such a beauty to me and such a stunner that I'm so excited. So if you like vintage Coach videos as well as other handbag videos, then this is the place to be. Go ahead, hit that like button as well as subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you won't miss out. Before we let's not wait any longer. Let's jump right in. Let's go ahead and get started talking about this baby. So I wanted to reveal my new vintage Coach Rambler, you guys. The reason I'm so strucken and I'm so excited about this bag is because, you guys, if you know vintage Coach, you know this is the original Rambler. This is the large one. This is the big baby right here. This is the super large vintage Coach Rambler, and I absolutely am loving her. I was able to locate this baby, and that was not an easy task. It's very hard to locate the larger size Rambler. I have a couple of the smaller size Rambler, vintage Coach Rambler bags, and this one I always wanted to add to my collection, but it doesn't come up very often. And when it does come up, it's usually pretty pricey. It's usually a pretty, high expensive penny. So I wanted to make sure I got my bang for my buck when I finally invested in one. I wanted to make sure that I got a good one. And this one is in such good condition. When I say good condition, you guys, I mean, there was no ink spots, there was no stains, there was no, basically I'm gonna let you guys see for yourself. So this is the front. Here's the side view. You can see how wide she is. Here is the back, the beautiful. You can see how rich and lovely and buttery and supple the leather is. This is the other side. Here is the bottom of the bag. And basically this baby, the dimensions for her are 12 inches long. She's about 12 inches long, but I would say about 8 inches tall and about 4.5 inches wide. 4.5 inches wide. So she is about 12 by 8 by 4.5. And I may go ahead and insert a few pictures of this original baby and how she looks in some of my vintage Coach catalogs. But we have the real McCoy right here in front of us. I'm absolutely loving her. And what I really like about this bag is, if you watch my channel, you know that when I was younger in my 20s, I talk about this a lot, but I have to say it for the new viewers tuning in that haven't seen one of my vintage Coach videos before. And if you haven't, go ahead, subscribe, go ahead, check out my playlist on vintage Coach. But I have to say that when I was in my 20s, I had the vintage Coach Prairie bag. And although I do like the Prairie bag, I had it in a lovely gray color. And I love the Prairie bag, but now I'm kind of more into larger bags than I was back then. So I wanted something that gave me a little bit more than the Prairie bag. So, over the course of time with my years and amassing my collection, I've went ahead and I've picked up some of the larger beauties in my collection, like the Manor, like the Court bag. I picked up the Plaza bag, and the Courier and the vintage Coach Taft bag. So those are some of the larger vintage Coach bags that I've added to my collection. But I wanted to say that this baby right here, comparatively to some of the others, I would say this baby measures up with the Plaza and definitely measures up with the vintage Coach Courier. I would say this bag and the vintage Coach Courier, as well as the vintage Coach Taft bag, the original Rambler, this larger one right here, along with the vintage Coach Taft bag and the vintage Coach Courier bag. Those are three, in my opinion, three of the largest vintage Coach bags. Comparatively, next would be, and I've talked about this before on my channel, would be something like a briefcase or going into a larger size messenger bag or a larger size briefcase. But as far as quote unquote purses go, as far as a purse goes, that's a lady's purse that you could, sling across you as a crossbody, I would say this original Rambler, the larger size Rambler, the Plaza bag is one of the larger ones, and then definitely the Courier and the Taft bag. So the Courier and the Taft bag along with this Rambler, I just love because they're such larger Coach vintage bags, and they're still a pocketbook, and I love those because I like the larger bags. And I also want to say now, there is the Avenue. I'm not going to forget about the Vintage Coach Avenue. That's a nice vintage Coach bag, and it is larger, but it's a little bit more, you know, I like the silhouette of that bag, but it is a little bit more skinny. So you get the length in the Avenue, and you get the height, but you don't get the width in the Avenue, because the Avenue is more like an envelope pocketbook pouch. It's more like a pancake. It's a little bit slimmer. So although I love the Avenue, it's not one of the largest ones, in my opinion. I like that bag too, but I wanted to go for something that was more meaty and that would give me a little bit more space to carry all my items, not just an envelope or you know, something like a slim wallet like the Avenue. So if you're looking for something a little bit larger, this bag, the Rambler, the Courier, the Taft is, you know, it'll give you more capability to carry more, you know, in your vintage Coach bag. Next, I wanted to address the fact that as far as vintage Coach large bags go that are purse bags, there is another type of bag that's larger with a top handle. It's a two-tone type bag. That bag has a cloth interior. I don't really, when I consider vintage Coach bags, I think of the era that I grew up in, and all of the ones in the era that I grew up in had raw leather interiors, like this bag. So when you start getting into the Sonoma lines and the Bleekers and, you know, the Madisons, I know the Sonoma and some of those, they have, a few of those have cloth interiors. They're vintage bags, they're vintage Coach bags, but they're not as old as the ones with the raw leather interiors like the one that I like. And I'm not really that much of a fan of, now I don't mind a cloth or a linen lining in a newer Coach bag. You know, if I'm gonna buy one today at the outlet or a Coach store, I don't mind that. But for my vintage Coach bags, I don't like the lining. I like the ones that have the original classic Coach raw leather interiors. I like the classics. So yeah, so I don't know, I can't stress that enough. I just, you know, I really, really love this bag because, like I stated, it gives me everything that I need. It's so large. Those dimensions again are 12 by 8 by 4.5. And let me go ahead and show you the interior. And I do have this baby stuffed, and I have her lovely strap inside. Let me go ahead and take out the stuffing so we can look at the interior of her. So this is what she looks like on the interior, and look at how beautiful the leather is. The condition of this bag, for this being a vintage Coach bag, is just so nice, so clean. The leather on here is so beautiful and silky, that raw leather. This is what she looks like on the interior. Nice and clean in there. You can see how clean she is. She does have a pocket against the back wall. The interior pocket against the back wall is just as clean and nice in there. And then she has a front pocket as well. And I've talked about this on my channel before with the smaller Rambler, the smaller vintage Coach Rambler. The front pocket is always very forgiving on the Ramblers, and this original larger Rambler is no different. You see how far that front pocket can extend, and you see how much room you have for your cell phone or your keys in there. This bag is going to be able to carry so much. It really packs a punch, and she's just such a striking beauty. Also, the original Rambler, another difference that I want to point out is that, you know how some vintage Coach bags, most vintage Coach bags have around the strap, the holes, the hole settings have the brass at them. The original vintage Coach Rambler right here, that bag did not come with those brass fittings at the circles, at the holes. This is the way it came, with the raw leather like that. And this bag is authentic. Let me go ahead and address that. There's nothing, there are no replicas or duplicates or phonies or anything like that on my channel. First of all, I mean, I don't believe in those. And if I was to talk about a bag on my channel that was a replica or anything like that, I would address that. I mean, you guys, we're beyond that point. We're past that. You guys know lvluxegirl. You know how I get down. So yeah, this original authentic beauty right here is so stunning. Such a beautiful bag. She has lost, and that's common with time. Sometimes the original tags will split or they'll lose them. She doesn't have her original hang tag, and that's fine. I can always pick up a replacement. I like to replace, and this was an original here on the lvluxegirl channel. I like to replace any of my lost tags with the gold brass hardware tags. I update them like that. I think that makes them look more updated and, you know, new, even though it's a vintage bag. I think it adds a little bit more updated, modern spin or twist on it to the bag. So yeah, I'll probably update her with an updated tag. But you guys, I had to share this beauty. I am over the moon. I'm swooning over this Vintage Coach original Rambler bag, the larger one. And I will come back and compare her to the smaller Ramblers that I have in my collection. But for right now, I just wanted to introduce this beauty on my channel. And I'm not saying that there isn't another video out there, but I've checked, and so far I have not located on YouTube another video on this original older Rambler. There may be one, but if so, very few. And I plan on doing more videos, comparisons and different things with this original Rambler bag, you guys, because like I said, she's so, I could talk about her. I could just go on and on and on. I had to come on camera, you guys, and talk about this lovely bag because I'm so in love with her. But I definitely will be back on camera doing some more updated videos on this beautiful bag. And remember to like, comment, and subscribe, as well as go ahead and check out my playlist on Vintage Coach. I invite you to check out my playlist on Vintage Coach because those videos, I put a lot of hard work into those videos because Vintage Coach is my love, and I would love to share that with you. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon in another video.